The Calgary Flames concluded their games at the Young Star Classic a few days ago, and there are many positives to take from the tournament. Certain players stood out, and while the team didn't pick up as many W's as they would have wanted, there were still many silver linings that we are going to dissect. But before we get into that, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And that about wraps it up. Let's get into the comment of the day. No, we actually have to talk about the Young Stars Classic. I know it ended a few days ago. We'll get into the first chapter of the video here. And look, I probably could have made a video on it sooner, but you know, sometimes you just gotta let things digest a little bit so that you can put it out on Flames Digest. And that's the way it's gone. And we have a great article here from The Athletic, and it is written by Thomas Drance that for the most part we'll be taking a look at this article here. But he wrote, "What we're seeing from Canucks, Jets, Flames, and Oilers prospects in Penticton." There are 4 teams named in that title. Are we going to be looking at all 4 of them? No, in fact, most Flames fans hate 3 of those 4 teams and only have love for the Calgary Flames. That's who we're going to focus on, but we'll still get into the intro of the article here. So, another Penticton Young Stars tournament is in the books, which means NHL training camps are right around the corner. By the time you're watching this video, the training camp roster has been revealed. There's obviously many players. You can go ahead, look it up. No surprises at all, but still interesting to see who we have in the system. But this year, it felt like the Western Canadian Prospect Tournament had some sizzle again. The Calgary Flames, amid a rebuilding effort, brought a top 10 pick from the 2024 NHL Draft in Zane Parekh, and he was a clear standout. So already, the biggest thing to take from this was just how great Zane Parekh looked. We took him 9th overall. He's a top 10 pick, supposed to be a very good defenseman, and he played that way. A very good offensive defenseman, I should say. I know in the very first game, there were some turnovers, shall we say, some mistakes, but guess what? It's better to make those mistakes now in the Young Stars Classic than it is when you're playing at the NHL level. Will Parekh even play at the NHL level this year? Who knows? We don't really know, but it's better to make those mistakes now, and he ended up recovering and playing really well. If we do get into the record of the Flames in this tournament, they didn't end up winning the tournament. They fared well with a 1-1-1 record and had several noteworthy performances from up and down the lineup. I'm not going to get into too many specifics here, but some players played really well. I know Sam Morton was incredible. William Stromgren, who had a great finish with the Wranglers last year, also played really well. And another 2024 NHL draft pick in Andrew Basha played excellent, but the Flames beat the Oilers, lost to the Canucks, and lost in overtime to Winnipeg. I think they might have blown the lead against Vancouver, which kind of sucks, and maybe came back against Winnipeg. I don't know. It's a little while ago now. But either way, a 1-1-1 record for how young the team was is not bad. And just how young was this team? Well, if we take a look, actually, I want to look at this first. We'll get into this. Calgary's youth holding its own should be exciting for the Flames, and not only for the Flames, but of course for Flames fans. So the 4 teams at this tournament weren't evenly matched. They were assembled with disparate experience levels and ages. Disparate experience levels and ages. That really threw me for a wrench, but either way, threw me for a loop. I need to work on my sayings, my quotes. I'm struggling through this one. Bear with me. The Jets and Oilers, for example, leaned heavily on invited free agents to fill out their back end. The Oilers went with younger players, many of whom are still draft eligible, while the Jets brought more seasoned professional invites to insulate their young forwards. The Canucks brought a handful of their American League veterans, while the Flames iced a team with 8 players selected at the 2024 draft. So the Flames team was really young. And if we get into the table that I showed just a second ago, this is just how young they were. So average skater age, you see the Flames there, 20.4. Obviously, the Oilers are younger here, but they do have more experience at the AHL and a little bit more at the NHL as well. And guess what? The Oilers were the worst team at this tournament. So for how young the Flames were and who they played, they actually did relatively well, quite well, really. And it should be a positive that a lot of Flames fans are saying, hey, the future looks pretty good. This is massive for our future. Those gaps in experience levels and age prominently shaped the run of play and the results of the tournament. Even though the games were mostly close on the scoreboard, it was evident throughout the tournament that the Canucks and the Jets were at a different level than the teams the Oilers and Flames brought. Some of the higher caliber AHL players like Canucks forward and AHL All-Star MVP Arshdeep Bains was able to seemingly impose their will on proceedings whenever they chose to. So the Canucks brought their best players, and guess what? They ended up playing the best. So that kind of shows just how young we were. And like I said before, there were some silver linings to this tournament, even if we didn't win it. So let's get into that in our second chapter of this video. Always positives to find, and that's what we love to do here on Flames Digest Talk. We talk about the pros and the cons, but we love the pros more. There are no set rules for how a team should be assembled at this tournament, making it a good opportunity for newly drafted teenagers to take stock of the distance they'll have to travel to challenge for a spot on a 23-man roster at the NHL level. It's likewise a chance for young professional players of all stripes to make an impression while playing games in front of NHL scouts, coaches, and general managers. The unbalanced composition of teams, however, is context that has to be kept front of mind when evaluating the performance of players and teams. So again, it's showing this Flames team was young and inexperienced at high levels of hockey. There were a lot of teenagers, a lot of new draftees. The Canucks team, for example, won all 3 games they played, taking nothing away from the standout performances of various Canucks prospects or the way those performances engaged the home crowd. The Canucks were favored to win every game they played, and they did. The only contest that was ever in doubt was their Sunday afternoon comeback victory over the Jets prospects. Even when Vancouver fell behind 2-0 to the Flames in the closing game of the tournament on Monday afternoon, its territorial edge was so significant that it was clear, even when Vancouver was trailing, which way the result would go. And that does take a little bit away from the Flames. You know, the Flames were never expected to win that game, and they didn't, so it kind of sucked. But like I said before, there were silver linings. That's partly why the performance of the Flames prospects in Penticton was one of the major stories of the tournament. This was a team loaded with teenage players, and some of Calgary's top 2024 draft selections, specifically Perek and second-round pick Andrew Basha, were among the most dynamic players in Penticton this past weekend. So not only, maybe the most dynamic on the Flames, they were some of the most dynamic in the entire tournament. And they have a combined 0 games of AHL experience and NHL experience. So pretty much 0 experience professionally, which is so amazing that they played so well. Such great silver linings to take from this. The future looks bright, Flames fans. This season likely won't have too many silver linings for the Flames and their fans. The performance of their 2024 draft class in Penticton, however, and the way they were able to hold their own against older and more experienced players was impressive. It's something to be genuinely excited about for the future. We often talk about the future because we know the present isn't going to be all that great, but seeing how good our prospects did is really heartwarming, and it just makes us so much happier. We have iced some terrible teams in this tournament in the past, but we finally have some really good prospects here. They're young right now. Their development is what matters most, really, heading into the next few years now. So great to see that they impressed at this tournament. Where was I? I think I had one more thing to say. No, that was pretty much it. So we'll wrap this one up with the comment of the day, as we love to do. And I kind of spoiled it a little bit there, but it does come from a regular around here. It is CeeLo, and CeeLo said, "Love Huska, but we need to finish bottom 5 next year and trade a few pieces next year's deadline," essentially is what they are saying there. And honestly, it is the truth. Huska has a great mindset. I mean, any coach is going to say that. No coach is going to downright say we're going to tank, but Huska's bringing that competition factor. It seems like his plans are really good, and I love kind of his ideas for what he can do to spark certain players. But it is true. What is best for the organization is to finish bottom 5 next season, and probably the season after that, maybe even the season after that. But either way, I do agree with you there, CeeLo. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. No matter what, it's so exciting that Flames hockey is so close. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.